Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it's time for another challenge over at the Jaded Blossom blog. This one is to make a treat, a holiday treat. So I'll be using, for that treat, the handled gift box die, the bread tag die, that stitched rectangle, gnome for Christmas, which is adorable, the mini tag dies 3, the 2 with the fishtail ends, and the two sizes there. And I'm also using the Photoplay paper pad called Kringle & Co., which is super duper cute. So I'll be using that also to make my treat today. And I'm going to be stamping my image. So I'm using that tag image from that stamp set, Gnome for Christmas. And I'm stamping it with Ink on 3's Blackout ink because it's Copic friendly. And I'm stamping it onto the rounded rectangle die that came from the bread tag dies. And I cut some Nina Solar white in 80-pound cardstock with that die. And then I'm stamping it onto the die. I'm using my Misty, and I'm using that little dry eraser board eraser to make, to give it even pressure. And you'll see I screw up here because, I leave those screw ups in the video. Why not, right? So I thought I pushed it back into the corner, but you'll see that I did not. So I'm going to have to stamp that on, and you'll see that's all kind of blurry and crappy. So I do it again here. We tried one, doesn't work the first time. We tried a second time, so that's what I did. And I just stamp it, I think, 3 times using the Ink on 3's Blackout ink. Making sure it's in the corner of the Misty. That's what's so great about a Misty. You can keep stamping it until you get a good image. And I like a really crisp image. It's, I guess you could say I'm a bit of an image snob. I want it kind of as perfect as I can get it. So there we are. I'm just stamping it a few times. I'm going to add it, I think, one more time. Yes, I'm stamping it one more time for you. And I'm planning on coloring this with Copic markers, and I'm going to have this in a sped up. I'm have the rest, or the coloring part, in a time-lapse video because you don't want to sit around and watch me color. It takes me forever. But here we are. So I chose to use Copic markers in R20, 29, 39, 59. I use N2, 4, and 6, E11, E93, W3, W5, W7, and the 0. And I'm just doing, quick coloring. I do some flicks with this beard. I'm using the grays and the reds. I chose those colors from the paper themselves. So there we go. So now I'm putting together my quick treat. Now these, the dies from Jaded Blossom, they go together so easily, no thinking required. You just fold your tabs and, I'm using score tape this time. And I'll be cutting the top tab off because I'm going to be leaving this as an open-ended gift bag. And I am not sure what's going in there yet. You could put treats in there. You could put a little gift. You can put, stationery, some crafting supplies, some, coffee pods, homemade treat, whatever. You can just fill this up with whatever you'd like. And when you cut that tab off on the top, it leaves it open so you can just put something in and take it, Whereas if you left it on, you'd be folding it so it looks like a little rectangular box with a handle, which also looks super cute, if you're filling it up with something small. But I thought this will be a cute little thing. You could put something wrapped in cellophane in there, nice and pretty. Isn't that paper adorable? You got to use gnome paper when you're using a gnome stamp set, right? Am I right, everybody? I know. You got to love the gnomes right now. This actually I bought last year, and it didn't come until almost after Christmas. It took forever to get it in Canada here. The Canada Post problems are real in Canada. Let me tell you, it takes forever for us to get anything up here, I swear. So as a result, I put it away, and I'm pulling it out for Christmas this year because, why not? Gnomes are still hot, and it's adorable. You got to use it. So what I do is I burnish my score tape with my Teflon bone folder. Just makes it easier to peel off, and I make sure that it's stuck well to the paper. And I also, use my Teflon bone folder to fold all of my tabs in. You don't have to. You can do them by hand, but I like everything to be nice and sharp. And there we go. And I have no nails, so don't look too close. I'm a more of a petty person than a mani. I can never keep a manicure looking nice. You know, I murder manicures on the daily. So now I'm quickly just putting this box together, and oops, I accidentally stuck it down. Made a boo-boo. So I'm going to stop the video and restart it because, you know, like I said, I made a little boo-boo there. And although it would have worked fine, really. It doesn't really matter what side shows, right? It's the same pattern paper, but you know, that's what happens when you're me. You have all these little thoughts running around your head and you're like, no, I meant it to go the other way. So there is my little stamped image. So now that's a piece of paper from that same pad. And I cut it out just so it has a nice little border around it. And I'm going to be rounding the corners with my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper in 1/4 inch, which perfectly matches the rounded corner, you'll notice, on that stitch die, which is perfect, right? Now those, I'm not sure if you're supposed to use them for tags or whatever, but you know, why not? You could use it for framing paper, right? If your little image covers up the center, no one's going to know. And that red will match perfectly with your pattern paper because that's the way it's made, right? You know, whenever you choose paper from one line, everything matches in there. It takes the guesswork out of it. So you might as well use it like that. So now those are my 2 fishtails, and I'm just using them as 2 little decorative pieces of paper really to ground and, you know, bring your eye to the image. So I'm putting it where I want it, and then I'll slip the paper in behind. And it doesn't have to be stuck down perfectly because I kind of want to zhuzh it, you know, or make it like, make it kind of curl up a little bit and, you know, give it a little bit of visual interest. So there we go. So now I'm going to pop my little tag on there. Now, Jaded Blossom has tons of these little tag images. You can stamp them onto our actual tags. You can stamp them onto all these bread tag dies, the rounded tag dies. The front of the gable box, actually, that little stitched piece fits perfectly for all these tagged images. Super fast and easy to make some cute tags. So now I'm popping up my images with my 3M foam tape. Like I said before, if I'm popping up a large area, I tend to go for my 3M foam tape. Otherwise, I use my Stampin' Up! Dimensionals in the mini or the normal size. And there we go. And you'll notice that I am, again, filming on my Stampin' Up! Pad just because, you know, it's handy, it's here, and it has no glare from the video. You know, my glass mat kind of glares, so I tend not to film on the glass mat. So there we go. So I'm just peeling off the 3M foam tape back, which usually comes off easily if you have some nails. But like I said before, I have no nails. So there we go. So now I'm just making sure that's in place. I'm going to sort of zhuzh up the edges of that those 2 little mini tag dies. Now I'm going to make a pretty bow for this image, or for this treat box. And I'm using the Bow Easy and 1.5 inch off-fray ribbon. I think this is from Walmart, like super cheap, you know, nothing special. And I'm just quickly making a bow for this treat to go up in the corner. And I turn the tails because this is a one-sided ribbon, so you kind of want the pretty side to show. So I turn the tails on both sides. And, you know, you can't go wrong making bows with this little device, let me tell you, because of course I can't tie a bow to save my life. There we go. So now I'm going to put this on my box. I'm going to trim off my little tails using a pair of scissors that are only meant for twine and ribbon. I think those are Fisker's scissors, but I have a couple pairs that I only use for that purpose. You know, you don't want your paper scissors for cutting ribbon. It's never a good scene. Never works out. You want to keep those fabric scissors just for fabric and twine and, you know, your baker's twine, that soft stuff. There we go. So now I'm going to add this to my box. You could use like a glue gun if you want, but I'm just going to use a couple of glue dots. I'll roll them up and I'll put a couple of them behind the bow and attach it to the top of the little gift bag. And it is adorable. You know, you just can't, you can't live without these dies from Jaded Blossom. You could easily crank out a bunch of them. So now I'm going to add a little bit of interest to my image. I'm just going to add a little of the Spectrum Noir, I don't know if this is the sparkle pen, I think it's called, just to my little jingle bell there. And then I'm going to add some Jelly Roll, the Sakura White Jelly Roll pen in a 10. And I'm just going to add like a couple of highlights, a couple little freckles. And, you know, it just kind of makes the image pop a little bit. And you notice I don't know if I said, I also use Prismacolor pencils in warm gray and white on the beard, just to give it, you know, a little bit like a lighter hand with the hair, because, you know, I'm kind of heavy-handed when I'm coloring with my Copics. I'm not the greatest flicker. So now I'm adding Nouveau Crystal drops in Simply White, just to, you know, add, like I said, I've said a million times, add a little bit of dimension, make it look like little snowballs or whatever. And, you know, I kind of straddle the image, straddle the sentiment. You're just trying to draw the eye. And like I said, you know, nothing too fancy, but I do put them in odd numbers. And that's about it. So thank you so much for stopping by and making a treat with me today. Maybe try and play along with our November challenge over at the Jaded Blossom blog. I'd love to see what you come up with, and you can link it up there. Use some products from Jaded Blossom, and like I said, make a quick treat for the holidays, whatever holiday you'd like to make a treat for. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone, and hopefully you'll come along and check out my next video. Bye, everyone.